to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the PFF rankings that came out today and the order in which they placed Daniel Jones. Now, the article and video revolved all around Daniel Jones, being that they were basically saying that New York Giants fans are overrating Daniel Jones. He doesn't belong anywhere near where we're putting him. And I want to give a quick shout out to Malik Washington for asking me to do this video, along with Lethal Lou on Twitter. They both pointed me to this article. And I had no problem per se with his ranking. I personally think he should be a little bit higher based on the year that he's had. I think he's had a very strong rookie season, but I get it. There's a lot of veteran quarterbacks in the league. They had him at 24, and they read into a lot of different things. I'd probably have him around 17, 18, 19, but the issue I had, how do you have Dwayne Haskins above him? They had Haskins at 23. They had him at 24. They had Baker Mayfield at 20. Baker Mayfield's had a horrible year. Yes, I know he's improved over the last couple of weeks, but Daniel Jones does not belong anywhere near behind Dwayne Haskins. And it just goes to show you, I think PFF is a clear example of a biased media. Listen, I was a Dwayne Haskins guy. I was not a Daniel Jones guy in draft night. Everybody knows my reaction. And I try to be fair. I've been tough on Daniel Jones all year. But Daniel Jones has displayed the ability to have the potential to be a top-tier franchise quarterback in the NFL. Not saying he will be, but he certainly has the potential if you could build the right team around him. He just has. And, we're going to get into all the statistics, what he's done throughout the year. And yeah, that's that. I mean, he's played very well. Dwayne Haskins, what has he done? He has done nothing. Outside of the last 2 weeks, he literally did nothing. And I get it. He doesn't have a great supporting cast. Terry McLaurin's his number one option. He doesn't have, the Giants probably have better weapons, even though the Giants' weapons aren't much to write home about. But he has better weapons. Saquon Barkley alone is a better weapon than anybody on Washington. But he didn't have Saquon Barkley for the majority of the year. And when he did, Saquon Barkley was banged up. But yes, I get it, right? Plus, he came into a better situation. He got to learn under Eli Manning, and he was more developed. But that has nothing to do with this year's ranking. It's why I had higher hopes for Daniel Jones in his rookie year than Haskins. Haskins, I think, could potentially have a higher ceiling, but he only played 1 year in college. But this ranking is based off of this year. And this year, they are not even close. I don't care what metrics you want to throw at me. I don't care. And I watched the video, and they pointed out Daniel Jones' fumbling woes. And I think that's a fair thing to point out. It's something the Giants fans point to all the time, his pocket awareness. He's not great at pre-snap coverages, even though last week he got a lot better. But yeah, a lot of the offensive line problems I think could be attributed to Daniel Jones. And a lot of the sacks he takes are because he holds on to the ball too long, and he needs to develop better pocket awareness. And that's something that he could certainly improve on in year two. Like, they act like you can't improve on that. Like, that's the only thing that can make any sense why he would be ranked below Dwayne Haskins. Because he's literally better in every statistical category than Haskins. He just is. And I think Haskins has a bright future. I think both these quarterbacks are going to be good. But PFF has proven to me to not be a good source to go to for basically anything outside of the offensive line. I think it's a good source for offensive line. There's not any real statistics to rate those guys off of. So I think it's a good source how they break down the run blocking, the pass blocking, things like that. Maybe it brings more light to quarterback pressures on the defensive end and run stuffing and things like that, because I do think that the sack stat is a little bit overrated. I think that they put more importance on getting pressure on the quarterback, which a lot of times will attribute to a turnover, things like that. But when assessing the quarterback, PFF is clueless. They're either clueless or they just don't want to admit they were wrong. I admitted I was wrong. Bad Dog admitted he was wrong. A lot of people have admitted they were wrong, but it seems like Todd McShay, who says the New York Giants' biggest need going into the draft as of 2 weeks ago was a quarterback, and PFF don't want to get on the train. They do not want to buy in. But and you could argue not buying in. I get it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I could get somebody saying, I don't know if he's going to improve his pocket awareness. I don't like this part of his game, blah, 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 blah. But to rank Haskins above him is completely ridiculous. And here are the rankings for Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins. Here's the stats that Daniel Jones has put up this year. This year in 12 games, in 412 pass attempts, so it's almost double what Haskins has in terms of attempts, has a 62% completion percentage, 2,726 yards, 23 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He's taken 34 sacks. He's fumbled 12 times. Remember that number. And he has an 89 QB rating. Okay? And then Dwayne Haskins, for the year, has 203 pass attempts, so it's roughly half. He has 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So he has less than a third of the amount of touchdowns. His completion percentage is 4 percentage points lower than Daniel Jones. His QB rating is 12 points lower than Daniel Jones. He's taken 29 sacks. And a lot of people, complain about Daniel Jones holding on to the ball too long. He's taken 29 sacks in less than half the attempts. Now, some of that could certainly be attributed to the offensive line, but if you're going to put that on Daniel Jones for not being able to read pre-snap coverages, I'm sure a less experienced quarterback in college is just as poor, if not more poor, at reading pre-snap coverages, being that Haskins played in a college-style offense where he saw no pressure. Daniel Jones got beat like a rag doll at Duke. The only thing you could point to on the yearly numbers between these two that he's better at, I suppose, is fumbles. He has 9 less fumbles in half the attempts. You prorate that out. If he did that over the next 203 attempts, he'd have 6 as opposed to 12. So that's it. That's what he's better at, holding onto the football right now, and that's certainly important. And then if you look at Haskins' yearly stats, take a look at this. Last week he played very well against the Giants. So I won't take that away from him. 12 of 15 before he got hurt, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. The week before, 19 for 28, 261, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So the last 2 weeks, he's played very well. He had a QBR of 58.9, and last week, 92.1. He was fantastic. But outside of that week, look at his QBRs, 29.7, 14.7, 14.6, 9.2, 49.1, 0.1, and only 5 pass attempts. But you get the picture. This guy's been an abysmal quarterback outside of the last 2 weeks. But because he's posted pretty good numbers, and they're still not great. The guy's got 7 touchdowns for the year and 7 picks. And you look at Jones for the year. Haskins hasn't had a 300-yard game. How many has Jones has? Jones has had, let's take a quick look here. 1, 2, 3, 4 300-yard games. We all know he's had 3 games in which he's thrown for 4 more touchdowns. So in 2 games, if you take his 5-touchdown game and 4-touchdown game, in 2 games he's thrown for 2 more touchdowns than Haskins has all year. He's had a QB rating of over 100 3 times. His QBR has never dipped anywhere near where Haskins has in his poor performances. They're not even close this year. And to me, this is just a clear instance where PFF and the media doesn't want to admit that they were wrong. And hopefully Daniel Jones goes out there next year and continues to make them look foolish. For God's sakes, the guy has a chance Sunday to break the all-time touchdown mark for a rookie quarterback. How in the world are you going to have him ranked below Dwayne Haskins? Makes no sense whatsoever. I'm sorry. The only thing that makes any sense to me is they put way too much emphasis on fumbling the football. And if that's the case, Lamar Jackson should have been ranked 32 last year because his stats outside of fumbling, where he fumbled it a ton last year, were not that good compared to Daniel Jones. And Carson Wentz, we were talking about the other night on the Giants show, it's like 50 fumbles for his career. Where's he ranked on that list? I think people are going above and beyond to find flaws in Daniel Jones' game. And they're there. And they should be there. He's a rookie. But comparing him to another rookie and telling me that Dwayne Haskins is having a better year so far than Daniel Jones, according to their ratings, they better get their ratings checked. That's my take on it. But as always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.